everyone.
Hello, hello.
Welcome, guys, to another awesome roundtable discussion.
With Katie Woodley. Dr. Woodley cannot be with us today. However, this topic is, I think, going to be a real power spot for both of you guys because we're talking about helicopter parents, right?
And overwhelming our cats, and in the ways that we do tend to sometimes overwhelm our cats. And that's something that many cat parents don't think of, right? Like instead we think about them overwhelming us instead of us possibly overwhelming
right now
them. Overwhelmed with love and
oh, that's
laughter.
Skylar.
That's Skylar. Oh my goodness. So welcome back, Julianne Thorne with Naturally Cats and Pam Roussel with Perfectly Holistic, the cat experts.
There's a breeze.
Oh,
hi, baby breeze. We were wondering where they were right before we started the live, and they were like, "Oh, we're live. Here we come."
Mine are the opposite. Mine are like, "Oh my god, she's like, quick, run away."
Hurry, leave the house now.
Yeah. People, alert.
Oh, love it. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun and exciting discussion and possibly eye-opening. I know Julianne Thorne has some exciting things for us today that we don't even know about. So we're going to be basically listeners along with you guys here.
Pam and I running the show.
You're running the show. Let's talk about it though. I mean, for anyone that hasn't heard the term helicopter parent, right? I mean, I think that most people have. They may not have thought about it as far as how they are with energetically with their cats, right? Mm-hmm. But Julianne, let's start with you. This is, I think, a pretty common issue that we've seen for ourselves and in our community. What do you see? What are some of the symptoms of being a helicopter parent?
Mm-hmm. So I want you guys to explain before I answer that, what is a helicopter parent? Because it's something that some people may not even know, like what that means. So tell everybody, like, what do you mean by a helicopter cat mum or cat dad? What does that mean?
Right. So it's basically like, I don't know why the term is called helicopter. Why is it? Because they hover over, right?
It's just like you're just all the time.
Like a cat parent that is consistently like just so worried about, or
I'll give you a few examples.
Always just up
in a few examples.
Right?
So it's normal for cats to jump on counters. I know some of you guys don't like it, but when our cats jump on the counter, we have handles on our drawers that are bars. And I will sit there being like, oh my God, the cat's on the counter. If they jump down, if they put their paw between the bar and they jump down, oh my God, right? Been years. Or if they, are just checking out a new cat tree for the first time. And it's like, oh my God, it seems a little wobbly. Yeah. Oh my God, is it going to fall down? So it's hovering. It's like, you never give them
worry.
Always being watched.
Yeah. And in the human realm, you're called a helicopter parent if, you're always sheltering. They basically sheltering your children, right? So it's, you have to sit outside with your kids if they're playing outside. They don't get to run and play on their own, right? Like we're always sheltering them from, germs, from
trying to protect them from everything,
from danger, from everything, right? And sometimes we do the same with our cats.
Okay, cool. I think that's great because I think there might be some people that, I've talked about, like we're talking about overwhelm, and I'm just wanting to sort of clarify what the term helicopter parenting is. I love what you said about, hovering over, and you said also about the kids, about making sure they're safe. That is essentially where your attention is coming from. You are on alert because you are scared, right? You may not feel that in that moment, but you are on some level scared about the cat, scared they're going to hurt themselves, scared they're going to get into a fight, scared they're going to wee, scared they're going to not eat, scared they're going to escape the house. Like there is some level of fear in amongst what's going on.
Yes.
So I've got an experiment which we're going to do a little bit later. I'm going to leave that until a bit later in the session for us to do an experiment with this. So for me, like you said, there are two components about overwhelm and helicopter parenting. There's the cat's response and there's the human. And, they show up in very different ways, yet both are intrinsically connected. So Pam, tell us a little bit. I want to make sure I don't just steal the show. Tell us a bit about energy and how if you are a helicopter cat guardian, like how that can impact your own energy. Tell a bit about that.
Well, okay. So I want you guys to envision in your mind, if you were overwhelmed, how would you, if you were supposed to draw a picture of you being overwhelmed, how would that look? Like, how would you describe it? How would you color it? What would that look like? What would that feel like? I call it shadow energy a lot because if you think of the character from Peanuts, Pigpen, he always went around and there was this dust cloud all around him, you know, and then we also have the image of the black cloud that kind of follows you everywhere because you're in a mood, you know, that can look like overwhelm. And that kind of energy that goes into our environment doesn't just stop with us. It's permeating into every fabric of space that you are occupying. And so whether that be a good energy, a bad energy, it's energy and it is affecting everything in that space for good or for bad.
Yeah.
So we have to, does that answer your question, Julianne? So,
Yeah. I think that's great. I mean, the energy is.
It's energy. It's energy. And, you know, we can't see it with our eyes, but our cats can see it. And I'm convinced they can not only see it, they can feel it. And it probably feels like the boogeyman. You know, it's just, it manifests in this dark energy that they'll repel from. And so, yeah, yeah, that's how we describe it.
I think that's great, Pam. I mean, like you said about the energy, you know, everything is made of energy. So let's break this down. You know, everything is made of energy, from the static book here to my physical body, right? That you just can't see that moving because the energy is so dense. But emotions are all made of energy. So everything vibrates, everything moves, all energy moves, right? That's when we talk about vibration and frequency, raising your vibe, being high vibe, feeling high vibe. It's all about how your energy is moving. Now, you know, if you think about emotions, and can I share my screen? Like, can I share a picture on this live, do you think?
Does it let you? There should be, wait.
Present.
Yeah. Okay. Is that okay to do? Like, as part of the live, I mean.
For sure. Exciting.
Okay.
Props.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to do it, but here we go. So can you see my screen?
Let's yes.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me make that like that. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Is it presenting? I can't see you guys anymore, but is it presenting?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if we think about emotions, you know, the two pictures on the left, they're all about their different emotions. They're called feelings wheels, and I use this in my program, but they're about, it lists all the different feelings. Okay, that's just one thing. The piece I wanted to share was on the right. When we talk about vibration and people say, like, oh, gratitude's the highest vibe that you can feel, you know, find gratitude, raise your vibe. It's not always that easy. So yes, gratitude and love and joy are a high vibration. They move really quickly. So if you look on the left, like joy and love have a frequency of 540 to 500 hertz, like roughly, okay? And if you think about guilt and shame and sadness, so the bottom half of that picture on the right, the red and the orange color states, anger, depression, fear, worry, they vibrate at like 20 to 30 hertz, right? Roughly. So if you think about when you are coming home or you go to your cat or you've come off a call, if you're feeling joyful, happy, positive, right? Just those top four colors, you're going to be feeling quite high vibe because your vibration is moving very quickly. Whereas if you come off a call, a meeting, come home, whatever, and you are feeling worried or you're doubting something or you're angry, everything feels heavy because the vibration that you're moving at is so much slower. So when they say about a weight being lifted, when you release sadness or guilt or shame, that is absolutely true because you are raising your vibration. You're releasing the dense, heavy emotions. So if we think about when we are interacting with our cats, if you're in this chronic state of anger or worry, bringing not just to them, but to your home, you know, because this comes out of you, right? Your energy comes out as far as your arm can reach. That's as far as your auric field goes, as your aura is. And then where does it go? Well, it just keeps going. You know, energy is limitless. So it goes into your house, goes into everything around you, right? So if we're always worried, and like I said, that comes from a place of concern and a place of love because you're worried about them. But that's the energy that you're bringing to them. Just something for people to think about. Pam, have you got anything you wanted to add to that? Oh, sorry, ladies, go on.
No, that's amazing, because it is about the vibration. It is about the frequency. And I would also say that sometimes these are subconscious thoughts and emotions, because that's happened to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I was even feeling like that, but it was just a brief little thought, that kind of in and out of my head, and I kind of forgot about it, but my brain went to work on it. So even though we might feel like, I had a really good day, but there may have been one comment that somebody said to you that was just kind of like, and you may have internalized it without realizing it. And so your subconscious is going to work on something that's negative, bringing your overall energy vibe down to this dense, heavy frequency that you're not even aware of, that you are putting out there into the field, this quantum field around you that is all about energy and vibration. So we have to think about, what are we putting into the field, and what do we want our cats picking up on that field? Because it's surrounding us. It's this, the quantum field is this space, it's not confined, but it's present. It's present all around us. We just can't see it with our eyes. And it's scientifically proven that it exists. So
yeah,
it's like the frequencies that you're talking about.
Also
I find
scientifically proven. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I have to say, when Pooh Bear passed in January, that was like maybe my first real realization of us going into that realm of like super fear, because of course we were grieving, but then it became this, and I noticed it. I noticed it because I saw Adrienne doing it, and then realized that I was doing it too. See her doing it, but did not know that I was doing it. And then I was like, oh, I'm doing that too. Like every time there's a sound, every time a cat moves, every time we're going to leave the house, or just randomly, let's go check on all the cats and make sure they're all still alive. Right. And there was a bit of like a PTSD, but it was like, are they okay? Is this, like, it was like helicopter in full effect because of that fear. And that's what we were, that's what we were exuding out to them.
But it also, like, and if you guys can speak to that, we're talking about frequencies a little bit, but I think anybody watching this probably knows that feeling of that jump that you get in your chest, in your stomach of, oh my God. That. So living with that feeling multiple times, an actual physical, almost sick sensation, multiple times a day, even if it was like, oh, everything's fine, and today's actually a really good day. That was like, it was almost like a heartbeat of just constant, I can feel it right now, of being worried about something, right? Like worried about something, like where it feel different.
Yeah, you haven't actually let that go completely yet.
No.
Like there's still a head count. Can we do a head count? I'm like, there have not been doors open. Our cats are still inside.
No, but it's a trauma response. It's a trauma response, right? It's a physical trauma response to the emotion and the shock of the situation. So you kind of glibly said, oh, a PTSD thing. It is. It's a trauma response in your body. So there is this, when you have that kind of situation, which, I don't think any of us would ever wish on our worst enemy to experience what you two experienced with Pooh Bear. And then, with your dear boy after, with Oliver Twist, like, I can't imagine the shock of it. And actually, like, I would be recommending, if you guys were clients of mine, for you to, look into having some form of support with that, because like that leaves an imprint, that leaves an impression. And actually what that does is, I won't swear because I try really hard not to in my life, but that messes with your energy in a super effed up way. And you need support to recalibrate that. You maybe need energy work, or you maybe need emotional therapy or some sort of talking therapy. It's different for everyone. And I know it's not for everyone, but it's really easy to kind of feel a bit of it and then push it to one side, because that's the easy thing to do.
And that's the follow-up question for you both. I think for all of us, that when we're talking about being a helicopter parent, it is we're just concerned about their safety. We want to make sure whatever, but it's coming from a place of a very low frequency of fear and just angst, right? Just a lot of angst. It's not the love and gratitude thing. So
I want to make clear too that there's a happy medium. There's got to be a happy medium.
Let's talk about that in
because
just a second.
We also don't want you to ignore your cats, right? That's what we talk
about. Well, come on. Well, yeah, we'll get to the cats, but our energy is the first bit of dealing with this helicopter situation, right?
Yes,
because
for us, and this is the question to you guys, is for many of the people in our community, we're not actually even thinking about ourselves or what's going on. This is about how our cats are handling, like feline idiopathic cystitis, so many stress-induced things. And we're like, well, we don't know why. We give them all this stuff and things. We're doing all this stuff and things right. And then you get to this point where, oh, well, maybe being a helicopter parent is actually more about what I have to deal with. So what is when someone comes to you guys with this kind of thing, they don't even realize they're a helicopter parent yet, right? They're just saying, hey, these are the issues and this is how I'm dealing with it. How do you approach because it comes out of a concern for their cat, so they're reaching out to you, and then you recognize that there's actually something within them that also needs to be addressed. How do you approach this situation to help us helicopter parents?
Can I speak to something you said first, just to kind of rewind just a second? When Julianne said, yes, you were experiencing a trauma. When we experience a trauma, it can be, bad news. It can be the loss of a cat like you guys experience. It could be just having a really bad work day. You got something happened at work that just totally crushed your spirit or whatever it might be. Those experiences form chemical reactions in our body, and it's recording that emotion to that memory, and it's stored in the body in our subconscious mind. So whenever we are triggered by something like Jay said, like, oh my God, where are the cats? Haven't seen them in a while. Are they okay? It's like we are chemically reliving that whole experience, and all those chemical reactions are recreating themselves again in our body, and we're not even aware of it. And it could have been trauma from a year ago. It could have been last week. It could have been an hour ago, whatever it was, but it gets stuck in the subconscious mind, and it will stay there until we are able to identify it and release it. So you are correct. It is a real chemical reaction going on in our body. It's a real thing. It's not just some, crazy theory. It really is. Scientists have proven this. So that's what I wanted to say about the whole subconscious and the chemical reactions, because yes, we can keep reliving that over and over and over and over again. And we don't even realize it a lot of times, but we have to recognize the triggers.
So how do you guys coach someone in releasing that?
Helping to not overwhelm their cat while they're working through whatever needs to be.
I think the first thing is awareness. You have to become aware of what you're thinking in that present moment and how you're feeling in that present moment, because you are, when we have an experience like that, it creates an emotion, and the emotions are stored, and the emotions are a recording of the past. So whenever that emotion comes up, it's like we are reliving our past again. So one of the first things you have to do is become aware of, okay, all of a sudden I feel like I'm feeling a little fearful. I'm feeling a little upset. And it doesn't mean that you can't validate those feelings, but how long are you going to sit in it? Right. How long can you absolutely need to recognize it and go, okay, but this doesn't define me. I'm not going to stay in this mode. I'm not going to stay in this emotion. I need to shift my emotion. Julianne is brilliant at this, but getting to shift energy. Okay. Yes, we have to recognize it, but I think part of it's just being aware. How am I feeling right now? Why is that triggering me? And sit with that. And like meditation does a lot for us, because it literally means get to know yourself. So we have to get to know ourselves with our thoughts. You know, what triggers us? Why are we being triggered by something? How quickly can I just move past that and come back to that state of gratitude, to that state of calm, to that state of joy, and create the, you know, the emotion I want to bring to me, instead of being stuck here in this emotion in the past and reliving that thing, because it affects everything we do, right?
Mhm.
So Julianne, speak to that shift.
Yeah, I love everything you just said there. I mean, it's not, sometimes it can be an overnight fix, like a really quick thing, right? Like a quick win. You know, we talk about this. So in my new program, Become a Soul-Led Cat Guardian, I help people get out of their heads and come into their hearts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll tell you, a couple of them, I've seen them in the chat, a couple of them will share with you, like, there's been a few bumpy weeks, you know, it can be gnarly, you know, because the mantra that I use is find it, feel it, and release it. You've got to find what your triggers are. You've got to find where the hell is this fear and flips, you know, / love. Where is this coming from, right? So find what it is that this is coming from. And then you've got to feel it. You've got to go back. You've got to go back to that moment, to that situation. You've got to feel the pain. And I don't say that lightly. I've done a lot of work on myself, and sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes you can go to a certain level, but you can't go fully into it. But you've got to do the work. You know, I've tried numbing, I've tried ignoring, I've tried pushing it under the carpet, and my boys just get worse. And actually, Pickle just got worse. Her symptoms, her sickness, you know, Leo with his asthma. I mean, it's no coincidence I've got a cat now that has a breathing issue, right? So when he starts to cough, I know that I'm like, right, what the hell am I pushing down, right? Literally, like in his chest, what am I pushing down in myself? And when I do a bit of work, David says she certainly does. When I do a bit of work on myself, he settles, right? His asthma settles. So yes, I use journaling, I use meditation, I use a forgiveness prayer. I use something called Now and Next, which is a tool that I teach in the program. But a high level overview is that you look at how you feel now, you list it all down. That's what the wheels are for. You identify how you feel, and then you do one which is how you want to feel. Now on that scale, you know, you've got, say, fear at the bottom and joy at the top. You're not going to be able to go from one to the other, right? We are human. We are human beings. You know, there is a lot of complicated stuff in between. But if you can find what it is that makes you fearful and identify it. So for me, I use one of my examples. I have a fear of Leo not eating, right? Because I had an issue with Pickle when she was poorly, and I didn't realize she hadn't drank water for 2 days. Totally mortified, right? So when Leo goes to food, I can have times if I'm up in my head and be like, oh my God, he's not eating. Why isn't he eating? When was the last time he ate? Look at the book. When did he eat? How much did he eat? What brand was it? What flavor was it? And I go off the charts, right? Like a massive spiral down. And Leo's like, the fuck, woman, you want me to eat food when you feel like that around me? Are you joking? You know, like it's just not going to work, right? I'm sorry, right. I can't contain it. But if I come to it and I'm like, right, you know, I'm fearful because but how many instances has that happened? How many times has that actually happened, right? Is this ultimately true that Leo won't eat his food? Well, he may not, but look at all the times that he has, right? So I take a deep breath. My breath is a big part of this, and this is the experiment I want to do with everybody in a few minutes if we're okay with that. So I find a place where I can't go to joy and gratitude, right? But I can go to, okay, I'm not in fear, but I'm in hope, right? I hope that he will eat the food. Okay. I'm not like, woo, Leo's eating, it's great, you know, when he goes to the plate, but I'm like, I hope Leo will eat his food. You know, that's not as dense as fear may be. So you do a bit of the work on the dense, heavy, sticky stuff that we all carry. Like everyone's got their bag of rocks and their bag. Everyone has. And you have to make a choice, right? You have to make a choice whether you want to continue numbing and avoiding or distracting or brushing under the carpet. And that really works well for a great amount of time until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, like all hell breaks loose, you know. And if you can feel a little, meditation's great. Like Pam said, there are different types out there. Find what works for you, but you've really got to find what it is that is your trigger. feel into where it's coming from, and then do some work about letting it go and finding a space where you can just move a little notch up the kind of energetic, vibrational, emotional scale.
And I want to say also, adding to that, your cats, all this time, you're pushing things under the carpet and ignoring it, numbing it, whatever it is. You might think that everything's going along just fine. And then all of a sudden, it's like your cats reach a tipping point where they're like, nope, not eating that. Nope, I'm going to start coughing. They start to show you symptoms. They start to give you signs. And a lot of times they're mirroring what we're holding on to, you know, or their symptoms are trying to get your attention to show you like, you got something you got to deal with here. You know, what's wrong with that food? You are so obsessed about it. I'm not touching it. What's wrong with it? You know, why are you know, like Leah's asthma, for example, one of the emotions that the lungs store is suffocation. It's feeling overwhelmed. So when they are coughing, they are feeling overwhelmed. They might feel suffocated. And it's maybe, you know, you have to look at yourself and go, do I feel like that? Do I feel overwhelmed at this moment? Do I feel like I am so weighed down and suffocated? You know, are my lungs just being intolerant about something? Am I being intolerant about something? So we have to just step back and look at ourselves.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, and it's true as well, as far as like what you said, Julianne, like it will come back. Like even if you correct it or you just, you know, kind of push it down. There's also like, the reason I absolutely know that this is 100% true, not just from reading science, because that I'm not always convinced by science, but I'm convinced by experience, right? And we have had so many times where like it's just really good. We feel really happy. We feel peaceful. We feel joyful. We feel content. Whatever it is, grateful. We're up in all of those. Our vibrations are high, right? We feel all of that, and we can come and like sit down on the carpet is what we usually do here. And every single one of the cats will come and they will get along together and they will rub up on each other. And the things that we don't see on a regular basis will happen when we are in that frequency, right? Even if it's just for a brief moment, and then we notice it and get like, oh, wow. And then like one of them's going to run off or something, you know, but we like, for that moment, we know that this is like our energy that is creating this peace spot for everyone. Yeah.
Place.
Yeah. That is definitely what happens. So our energy, our emotions, it impacts them so much more than I think we ever realized. You know, I mean, still now I look at my boys. I did some work on myself this weekend. Sunday morning, Leo's on my lap, which is a miracle in itself. And then baby Max comes on the bed. I'm like, oh God, Leo's gonna go. Like, just pretend baby Max isn't there. Just like gently stroke him to the side, keep stroking Leo. You know. Next thing I know, baby Max comes over. He's on my chest, and I've got literally like 2 boys on me here, and I'm like, oh my God. Take a breath. Exactly the same as you. And then it's like. Yeah. God, oh my God. And then they moved. And it was the briefest of seconds. I managed to get a picture to prove to myself it actually happened. But you are so right, Jay, that, when we are in that higher frequency, that high vibe space, they can feel it. But we're human, right? We can't be there all the time. And that's the thing about helicopter parenting, bringing it back to the cats, like we love them. We love them so much it hurts, right? We love them so much. We're so scared of losing them, of them being hurt, harmed, health issues. We have so much of a deep love for them that it's something that we can always explain, right? We can always explain how deep it goes, how strong it is. And that's one of the most beautiful things, because that gives us the opportunity, like Pam said, that when something isn't right with them, to look at ourselves. We want to keep them safe. We want to make sure they're happy, healthy, and they're thriving. And there are things that we can do, in terms of like behavior support. If you are a helicopter parent, we're going to do a little experiment in just a minute, but you can be mindful of them, right? Bring in the toys, the one-to-one play. If you've got a cat that isn't great with food, think about, high spaces or dark holes. What do they like to eat? If you've got a cat that's weeing somewhere, of course, there's the boxes, there's there's herbs, there are there's energy work you can do with them. But at the end of the day, they aren't going to necessarily change their behavior until we change what we bring to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Before we jump into the experiment, I do think, because exactly like you said a minute ago, I think it was Julianne, that with Leo eating his food, it's like, oh, you get worried about it. And then you think back to, and this is something that I do, and I think you do it as well. Mm-hmm. Every time we have that feeling, and go and check and do a head count, make sure everyone's breathing or whatever it is. I think back, or we both have to leave the house for a little while. We work from home. So we're both about to leave for CatCon for an entire weekend. It's like, do you think, Pam, you talked about that first step kind of being awareness. And I think for me, it is very easy to be aware of what is freaking me out, what causes me fear, what, this is happening or that's happening. But I do make that mental exercise of being like, of all the times we've left the house, when have we ever come home to something terrible? Never. Of all the times that, we didn't know where someone was for 20 minutes, there's only one time.
Mm-hmm.
But that
how many days
has overshadowed 25 years of experience for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that sometimes it's almost easier thinking about awareness, like Jay said, to really sink into the awareness of those beautiful moments. So you know what that feels like. So you're easier to see the contrast because it's, as helicopter parents, it's easy to worry about everything. And then if you get to that, like, oh, maybe it's this that's making me feel this way, or maybe it's what I do with that's making my cat do this, instead focus more on the positive awareness and then start taking away at the other ones.
I'm just remembering that I read a study, or I heard about a study or something. This is years ago, so it's just popping into my head, about worry. They were talking about, there were two humans about fear and worry, and how it was something like, it was 95+% of the time they did an actual study, and 95+% of the time, whatever we were worrying about was did not actually happen. We worried, but whatever that was that we were worrying about did not happen. And it might even be 99 or 98% of the time. It was a huge number that's like, wow, we put all that energy into worrying about something, even though, as you said, it never happens. It's not something that happens regularly. It's not something that we should expect regularly, We'll put that negative, if you will, that fearful frequency and energy into it.
100%.
And that's because that's the way your brain's wired, right? Your brain is wired to think, the last time I left the cave, there was a great big saber-toothed tiger, right? That was a threat. There was something that went wrong, right? So your brain is like, don't do it again, and what if this happens? So unfortunately, there is an instinct part of you that you have to fight against. And let me rephrase that. There's an instinct part of you that you need to rewire, to recode, to realign, so that I still have moments when I look at Leo and I'm like, I could quite easily freak out. But like you said, Adrian, think of all the times that he's eaten. The last 5 days, he's been eating like an absolute horse, right? Brilliant. Great. Let's remember those. I'm like, bloody hell, buddy, I have to buy more cat food. What a problem to have, So you're absolutely right. We don't have crystal balls. We don't see the future. Well, maybe some people can. I mean, I personally, mine's a bit cloudy right now. It's not working. But why worry? Why worry when you're in this dense frequency? Because it's familiar. That's why we do it, because it's familiar. And actually, in a really messed up way, it's safe. It's safe because we know what happened last time, and that was really, really hard, really painful. We weren't safe. It was really scary, but we dealt with it. So if that happens, your body gets a physiological response, but you can still manage it, right? So your brain is already kind of going to that response in your body because it's in a really messed up way, the safe place to be.
It's the known familiar place.
Oh, it's just about to say that. Go on. Yeah.
It's the known familiar place, even though it's not a healthy place. It's familiar, and we would rather be in a familiar place than the unknown where we don't know,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
if we can shift our thinking to embracing what's unknown, you step into that quantum field of possibilities and you can start to attract amazing experiences to you because you're open, you're not closed off to it, So I've been listening to a lot of Joe Dispenza all weekend. I've been doing like podcast after podcast. I love this man so much. And if you've never listened to his talks on how to rewire and how to be like changing your frequency to be in that high vibe, to shift that mental focus from this low fear, worry condition to shifting. Yes, you have to become aware, and then you have to mentally change. It's like, no, I want to go be in this happy vibe like you were describing, and go remember what that feeling is, because it's the feeling that our body remembers, and our brain and our heart are connected. So if we're always in our head about the fear and all of that, it goes into our heart, So if we can shift and we can create this how we want it to be, and those precious moments like Julianne described about having both cats on her lap in that morning, just go remember how excited you were in that moment, and like, oh, the love that was pulsing through your veins, and this overjoyed happiness. That's what we want to go remember, so that when we get into those negative, spots, we can go, no. I need to go back and remember that emotion that I felt when it was over here. Because the more we can shift our energy to that, we draw more of that back to us. It's an electromagnetic response, and you're actually attracting that from the quantum field back to you. It's so powerful. It's amazing.
Do you think it's possible that if you have
Everything's
never
possible.
actually been in this situation, right? Like, say we hadn't been through a situation where everybody's just like, the love is whatever and everybody's getting along, do you think it's possible to imagine that anyway and still attract it to you?
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
That is the quantum the whole quantum science is all about the possibilities, and it's out there, but we have to put ourselves out there. So like you were describing, just like that, imagine seeing all of your cats in harmony, them, sitting in a big cuddle puddle pile, and they're bathing each other, and everyone's purring and they're happy. And just imagine how filled of joy your heart would be, just overflowing with love and going, oh my God, where's my phone? I got to take a picture. I want to take a video. I want to take pictures. I want to remember this moment, and just sit with that emotion as if it's already happened, because that's how we create the potential of it manifesting and happening. So yes, it's possible. It's possible. You have to feel it. You have to think it, then you have to feel it. You have to have that brain heart coherence, and it's phenomenal. But yes, it's possible.
I think that about the example or whatever, the phrase of saying is basically like exercising a muscle. And the more you guys are talking, the more I'm realizing this is going to be the first time we're leaving for CatCon on Friday. We're super excited about it. But I realized about a week ago that I am getting into near panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
The first time that we're leaving all of our babies with our beautiful pet sitter, Sarah.
Right, Sarah.
But it's not, I still keep getting this. If anyone has a fear of heights, that feeling, like your body just feels paralyzed, like the blood's not flowing anymore. It's like that feeling. And I keep thinking, and thank God Jay and I had a meeting just to go over all the logistic stuff of everything that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. But I was thinking about how it is about exercising a muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kept stopping myself and being like, we're about to go do something that's really exciting. It's a beautiful space for our entire cat community to get together. It's going to be we've gone to CatCon 7 times now. Like, however many times, nothing bad ever happens. Like I'm trying to remind myself all the positive things. So I literally was trying to like redirect my head, but it is like exercising a muscle. And the more over the past like week and a half, 2 weeks, I just feel like this, like an actual peace, not a remind yourself this is fine, but an actual peace starting to come over me about this is going to be great. In fact, it may actually be awesome for our babies, you know, just like, went through a lot this year too. And maybe if we just get out of their way for a little while, like this could be really, really beautiful. Yeah. So that exercising the muscle thing, that heart, mind, and soul, we've always logically thought, you know, when you're making a decision about something, if you can align what you think about it, what what your head says logically, what you feel, what your heart is feeling, and then that intuition, that bit of us that's just like, this all makes sense, and whatever, but it makes the hair in the back of my neck stand up.
Well, yeah. No, I was going to say that the funny things we tell ourselves, they're called limiting beliefs. Like if I leave, something bad's going to happen. Well, no. No, they're going to be fine. Sarah and Jerry are amazing. They love those babies so much. It'll be like a staycation for them. Yes. You know, they're going to be so entertained and they're going to be so well taken care of. You know, you can just have peace of mind knowing that they're in the greatest hands. And if they need you, they know where to call you, you know. But it's the funny limiting beliefs that we hold on to, or that we tell ourselves these lies that something bad's going to happen if I leave or whatever. So we have to get past, we have to identify like, wait, why am I thinking this? You know, like you just did. Like
get out the hamster wheel and remind myself all the times, you know, that that's not a reality. It literally is worry. And I'm going to waste 95% of my mind time on all of this awful stuff when we are really preparing for something that's beautiful, really a beautiful experience, an exciting opportunity, like all the stuff and things, not just for us and everyone that gets to go to CatCon, but for our babies too. Like this could be great. It is something.
Look what Paul Bear says. Imagine the energy you will have after CatCon to bring home to your cats, right? Remember your sparkle jars, like the jar are full of your joy and the things that light you up and the energy that you have to share with others, right? Right now, imagine your guy's sparkle jar is quite low. You know, you're looking at the crusty granules at the bottom. Imagine how much is going to be filled up by going there. Like, yes, you are going to have a scoop taken out every day when you think about your babies and you worry about them. But just think about what you're going to come home to, you know, and how much like your energy will be lifted and shifted as a result of that, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this experiment. So what we're going to do is, this is something that I use with my program, with my clients, with myself. And you may have heard me talk about it before. So it's called a calm connection, and it's basically a breathing exercise. But I'm going to give you guys a bit of visualization because I want you to identify how different frequencies feel in your body. So just to give you an overview of what I'm going to do, I'm going to get you to close your eyes in a minute. I'm going to do it as well. And I'm going to talk you through an instance of being with your cat when it's been really hard, you know, not something sad, but frustrating. Okay. I'm going to get you to feel that kind of anger and that kind of vibration, that emotion. And then I'm going to ask you to think about a situation where you've experienced a moment of joy with them. Okay. So I'll talk you through it, but it's all about helping you to understand what the different frequencies feel like, so that when you next go and interact with your cat, whatever the situation may be, whether they've left a plate of food, they've weed on the bed, they've pooped outside the litter tray, they've, you know, messed on your bed, whatever it may be, you can look at how you feel. Like, what are you bringing to that? Okay, so you ready? Everyone up for it? Want to give it a go?
Yeah.
Everybody? Okay. So everyone online, I would invite you to do this with us if it's safe to do so. Obviously, if you're driving or operating heavy machinery, please don't close your eyes. But hopefully you're just at home and you can do this with us. So close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes. Okay. Softening your body in your chair. We're going to start by taking a nice deep breath in. Deep breath out. And putting your left hand on your heart space. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And putting your right hand on your tummy or just below your belly button on your sacral chakra. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And we're going to just keep our eyes closed, keep our hands on our body. And just breathe. Just breathe in this moment. Got nothing else to do. Just allowing the breath to flow into the body. Feeling the rise and fall of the body under your hands as you come into this moment and bring your awareness to yourself. Now, in your mind's eye, I want you to visualize a time when you shouted at your cats, when you were so angry, so frustrated. They weed, they pooed, they vomited, they left the food, they attacked the other cat, they escaped, they hurt you. Just see that moment when you were just so angry and frustrated. You might notice your shoulders get hunched, your tummy feels tight. And just feel into that moment with them when you were just so goddamn angry. How it felt in your body. How it feels under your hands to be in that emotion, to feel that from yourself towards them. Okay, now we're going to put our hands into our laps and put your palms together, and I invite you to visualize a moment with your cats that just makes your heart sing. You can't stop smiling. You had double cuddles. They were on your pillow. They sat on your lap. They let you stroke them. They kissed the other cat. They licked the other cat. They gave you an eye kiss. They gave you a purp or a chirp. Anything that your cat has done that has made you smile. And it actually makes you laugh out loud when you think about how cute they were and how much you love them and how much you just would do anything for them. This little furry, old, drooly, grumpy little thing that just fills your heart with so much joy and so much love. And again, notice it in your body. She says as Leo's just now meowing at the bottom of the stairs. So just feel that cat, feel that joy. And taking a nice deep breath in. Deep breath out. And open your eyes when you're ready.
I love it.
That was nice.
Right?
That was great. That was great. And I have to say, once again, you really have the most perfect voice. You really do. Like it's perfect.
You need to make these meditations into something we can just turn on, like little podcasts
At night.
I've got a 21-day meditation program, actually. Funny you should say that. Like you can get a different meditation from me every day, and you're into your inbox for 21 days. They're less than 10 minutes as well. So I do have that. Yeah.
Okay, then we'll follow up on that. Maybe drop it in the links here.
Yeah.
But who did you pick? What was your moment?
Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Same.
Friday.
Yep.
When you had us about cats, so we were like, so it was obviously one cat, and then you said yell at your cat is the first thing that you said, and Friday's really the only one that
we just like we are trying so hard not to yell or have them associate anything like. But when there is when she tries fighting with one of her sisters, it just comes out. I know that there's people here, hopefully, that can empathize with that. But it is just
clap.
You lose your shit.
We sound like assholes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
so right now.
Tails all puffed up, but then she goes running from us, and that's
it's awful.
And I'm like, oh, I don't want that, but at the same time, you had to stop like
first
flying, like
we put our arm in there.
I
know, Julianne, when we were talking about how to help our cat stop fighting, you said sing like an opera voice. Sing like I don't like the highest I can get is not very high.
Show us.
No.
Show us.
No.
Go on.
I mean, it still comes out like a gremlin yodel, like I just can't. I can't. So it just comes out as a yell, and it's so crazy that you think about, we're talking about energy and how we feel and all that kind of stuff, but those kinds of moments make me realize just how easy subconsciously we are just that part of us is always there.
Yeah.
To not be able to hold that in, even though we have verbally exercised the fact that we will not yell. We will not yell. We will not yell. And it just
comes out.
It's because you're in that mode too, right? So you are at that space, right, where you can't go any lower. I'm not meaning to sound awful, but you can't go any lower, right? You are at despair, you know. So the only place to go is there, right? So that's why it comes out. And it's you're reacting, right, rather than responding. You know, you're reacting because you're on your last nerve. You're at the bottom end of the scale, right? So you're in the dark, heavy space. You know, so it's normal. Like we all do it, you know, and we're human. We are human beings. We are not robots that you can program in a nice bit of code and say, I'm going to react this way next time it happens. Some days you will, some days you won't, right? Some days you're going to lose your shit. Other days you'll have a good handle on it. And some days it'll be just by the tether you'll be holding on. You know, you're doing the best you can, peeps.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I mean, and thinking back to those moments when we have like yelled, and there has been you are 100% right. We were in a space prior to this, which I'm sure it all works together, right? But we were already in a space where we were fed up, where we were, you know, like we're trying to, like, you know,
we're trying, but that's what we're on. We're trying on some fumes. In contrast, though, that part of that meditation, thinking about the things that our cats do, and Friday was.
She's the biggest lover.
She is
like
such the sounds that she makes.
Biggest
the way that she
lover, right?
What a beautiful exercise.
Her kitty back rides where we just walk around the house and sit together, where we dance together. She, you know, I mean, she is the one cat that you can kiss on the head and she goes into it instead of
stop it.
Like
she is so
she's a lover.
She's the lover.
What a beautiful exercise. Probably for all of us that just did that, because it's, you know, probably something all of us have dealt with, but I don't think that I've ever done that roller coaster in that amount of time. and it was really helpful. I think that's
the first part you can do by yourself, right? So the first part, the actual calm, that was kind of like a mini meditation or visualization, but the calm connection that I teach to people, you do it in less than a minute. So you close your eyes, take one deep breath, you put your hand on your heart, you take a second deep breath, you put your hand either on your tummy or just below your belly button on your sacral chakra and your third deep breath. And then you can be done, or you can just sit there for a minute and just breathe, right, and come into the moment, you know, and it's not 5 minutes meditation, it's not 50, you know, any form of kind of energy work like that, in my opinion, is helpful. But you know, you can't always do it every day. You know, I love meditation. I speak very highly of it. I don't do it every day, you know, but then there are times when I'm getting to that point when my sparkle jar is crusty and I'm like, I got to pick up my game a bit better, because in a minute Leo's going to be coughing, you know, baby Max isn't going to be coming home and I'm going to be in all sorts of pain. So, you know, it's not worth it.
Oh my God.
It's not worth it.
I love Pam has dropped the link to the 21-day meditation program.
Oh, thank you, my love. I couldn't put it in there.
Yeah, no, we're got it for you.
And before we run out of time, I didn't realize, I don't think, forgive me, we've been a little preoccupied, but I didn't realize you actually have a program that really does kind of work through this exact thing. So can you, for everyone here that's as ignorant as I am right now, could you share a little bit about that?
That's okay. So I'm just finishing the pilot version, so that's why people don't know too much about it. So the second version is going to be launching in September. So there is a wait list that people can join, and I'll find the link and figure out how to put it in the chat. It's called Become a Soul-Led Cat Guardian, and basically it's about helping people to come out of their heads and be driven by anxiety and fear and doubt and worry, because I've been there a lot of the time. And coming into their heart space. Oh, there's an echo.
Pam, are you okay?
We're all echoing.
Pam, are you got Facebook open?
No.
You just needed me to sing. Okay, continue.
Okay. So yeah, it helps people to come out of their head and come into their heart, to connect with their intuition, to shift their trauma, to look at their limiting beliefs, and to look at what's holding them back from being able to communicate with their cat, to receive their cat soul, to do what I do, right? To do with energy and emotions. And it's all about
Keep going.
shifting you from here to here.
Continue.
I don't know what those do. I just need the angelic tones of Jay to clear the frequencies.
There you go.
So yeah, it's a program, like I said, that will be open for enrollment in September. There is a waiting list. I will find a link to drop for people. There are a couple of people that were in the chat that are going through it with me at the moment, and some of the transformations are just fascinating. You know, people are saying about how cats are sleeping on their pillows and letting them touch them, and they've been having cuddles, and they've been getting on better with other cats. That's almost like the side effects of it, right? The whole point is about the humans and helping them to heal and to awaken and to elevate, you know, to deepen their connection with their cat, which, you know, who doesn't want that?
Right. Oh my gosh, I'm totally taking this course.
Mojo's here. I feel you, Laura Lee. This is very exciting, and I feel a little bit less bad now knowing that was just the pilot program that you're working. Okay, because I try to keep up with all the magical things that you guys both do, and that's really exciting though, and I think it's something that would be really helpful for us and probably many people.
Yeah, I think we should all go through it. Maybe we start like another side. It's like, how was your first day? And we do a 21-day get together. I don't know. Club, but like not.
Love it.
That's
thank you, ladies, so much for this. Thank you for every single time we have a round table with you ladies. You guys like bring us specifically. I know you bring everyone, but you elevate us, and you help us, and you give us little, you know, sparkles for our jar, and excitement,
and mental tools, really.
And tools.
Yeah.
Really.
Is there anything on this topic, because I know we've got 2.5 minutes left, anything that we didn't touch on, or something that's in your head right now that could be helpful for everyone here?
I would say your breath. You know, breath work, just pausing can make a huge difference just in that moment. You know, I use that a lot with Leo. When I go to his plate and he's not eating, I'm like straight away my hand goes up to my heart, and I'm like, okay, just take a breath, you know. So I would say above everything else, all the other bits we've mentioned, brilliant, but just your breath, like hand on heart, just take a deep breath. And
and that's wise advice, because I know that for me, being high anxiety, one of the things that I forget to do is breathe. And I mean, it's not that I'm not breathing. I'm obviously still alive.
Yeah.
But you know, but I'm like so in this that at the end of the day, I'll take this like deep breath laying in bed. She'll be like, "What was that about? Well, are you okay?" And I'm like, "I just realized I haven't breathed all day."
Yeah.
And that felt really good.
Yeah, for sure. We don't always realize that we're not doing it. Like, we're surviving, right? You're in survival mode, so you're just not conscious of it. So yeah, I've had that as well. Like, why are you huffing? I'm like, I'm not huffing, I'm just trying to catch my breath, you know, just trying to breathe. Yeah, for sure.
I would suggest if people are interested in like exploring, uncovering subconscious blocks in their body, I have a service called Mind, Body, Spirit Release that they can look at, and it is pretty phenomenal to help identify and address and release like stuck emotions and traumas, limiting beliefs, anything that's holding us back. It's pretty amazing, and it can be done for pets too.
I love that.
I
was asking if you guys would please drop your links here.
Yep, links are both in the description to both of their websites.
Yes.
So links to Perfectly Holistic and Naturally Cats are in the description here, Facebook and YouTube. So you guys can get to their websites.
And then to the services that were mentioned.
Yeah, and the services in between. I don't know. I think they're probably all available on your websites, but also being dropped here by Perfectly Holistic, to Crazy Cat Ladies. Thank you, Sissy. So
for some reason I can't comment. I've just realized that I've not streamed this bloody session to my channels, which I will then save the video. But I put in the chat, in the private chat, the meditation program and the sign up page for the program. So
perfect.
Oh, there it
Perfect
is.
to see it. Yes. Awesome. Okay. All right, ladies. Well, happy Monday. Can you believe tomorrow is August?
Wow.
Oh no.
Surprise. Hey, I just want to say this is a happy Monday already, but you guys just made it a happier Monday for us, and I think probably everyone that was able to join us today. really beautiful session.
Yes,
I'm
we're
very
always-
grateful for you both.
Always so grateful for you guys. Thank you so much.
Remember to
for us,
breathe.
everyone. And we will see you guys back again next month. Mwah.
Love you guys.
No, actually,
Bye,
we're not.
everyone.
We'll see you in September. Remember?
We will
Oh,
just
yeah.
we will see you guys. Actually, we will see you guys tonight for our Q&A session on TikTok and Instagram.
Right.
But
it'll
we'll
be September
all
before
back
we're
together in September.
September.
With Katie.
I love you guys.
Love you guys. Bye.